Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my Each One Teach One program dissertation discussion. I'm your host, James Chandler, activist, author, and solo artist as well. I have a album out there of I sing, so out there on the market, published books out in the market. Go check me out. Check up my name. I'm all on Amazon, iTunes, and everything like that. But this is another episode of the continuation, the 14th Amendment, the power of the 14th Amendment continuation. So again, this is the power of the 14th Amendment continuation. And I want to share 3 speeches today that I talked about the need to petition and demand the government, a speech directly toward the IRS, and a speech for leveling the playing field to limit the rich from getting richer and the poor from getting poorer. So a speech for a solution for that, for low-income individuals. So those are the 3 speeches. And I also wanted to share a video that I talked about last time. I showed a video on Each One Teach One. And it's just still exposing the government, showing facts that they don't want to see us better. They don't want to see us thrive and survive. So, and that's the point of FBI Angels. I am CEO, Chief Executive Officer of FBI Angels, an activist as well. So, getting into it. The first video I'm going to show is they banned something that could heal cancer patients. You know, when we talk about natural remedies, and as you were hearing in one of my speeches, the lack thereof of us growing fruits. You don't see fruits grown in our neighborhoods, and it shows the scarcity of the rights in this so-called land of the free, home of the brave. And it violates the 14th Amendment. It violates our rights. And I'm coming to you from a law perspective and getting we the people what we deserve, fighting verbally right now until we all join together in this fight, physically and verbally and every which way. And again, it's still a spiritual fight according to the scriptures. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, powers, rulers of darkness in this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. So yes, I stand on the word of the Most High. And also you can read in the Psalms that we are to defend the cause of the widow, the cause of the weak, the cause of the poor, the fatherless, and these are the things that the government is against. And we need to know law so we can defend ourselves against these people, since that's one way. And as I said before, law is all we have. They have all the weapons. They have all the money. They are surviving the best they can with what they taken in resources. All we have is law. Verbally, and we have the Most High to defend us, but there are guidelines we have to go by, in order to be protected in the system, even by law. There's guidelines. You cannot step on other people's rights. In order for this law to work for us, we can't step on other people's rights. We can't hurt people. We can't just go out there and say, well, I got rights, and go and kill somebody or murder somebody. No. The scripture says, thou shalt not murder, thou shalt not kill, right? So natural law, common law is what we stand on, and it's still a guideline. So let's get into the video.
Any form of government.
Here we go.
I used to work at this restaurant called Oakland Cafe in Atlanta. And it was where the wealthiest of the wealthiest white people would come. Eat breakfast, lunch. They ate there 3 times a day. It was very common for them to leave breakfast and go lay in oxygen chambers.
That's called, so look,
old as
so
fuck.
they hip though. So look, what them chambers are called, it's called ozone therapy. Hyperbaric chambers.
Yes, yeah, that's exactly what
You know that shit heals cancer quick, and guess what it does? So most people with cancer, because it's illegal to have a hyperbaric chamber in America. Why is that? But it's a Mexican doctor that's in Mexico right now where people get cancer. Say if the herbs are not working quick enough, they ship them off to Mexico, and they coming back healed because they are putting them in these ozone 3 hyperbaric chambers and healing 3-month therapy where you go in there every day for 30 minutes, or they put them in an ozone 3 sauna suit, which I own one of those, a sauna suit. But it's so this is how corrupt America is. I own a sauna suit, and I only can use, me and my family can use it. If I get caught having somebody else to use the ozone 3 sauna suit, I will go to federal prison. Why? Because they don't want you healing your body of cancer. Because the moment you realize that disease is an illusion, you get to buy back your freedom, and you get to give yourself more time here on earth to figure out they bullshit. They're capitalizing off of us being stupid, and we are literally paying these people to kill us.
I used to work at this restaurant.
So, the honest truth, right? So let's get into my speeches. We're going to start with the one where I mentioned to petition and demand the government, and so on. Dear government and citizens of America, I am here to express my frustration with the current state of our government's response to petitions from citizens like myself. It is disheartening to see that our efforts to voice our concerns and demand action are being shut down and ignored. As a citizen of this country, I firmly believe that it is our right to demand accountability and action from our government, as stated in the 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution. Our right to petition should never be stifled or dismissed as a mere privilege or opportunity. It is a fundamental right that cannot be taken away from us. It is unacceptable that our petitions are being shut down and disregarded. If the people believe in a cause and are willing to fight for it, then it is our government's duty to listen and address our concerns. We should not be forced to go through hoops and barriers just to have our voices heard. I urge you, government, officials, servants of we the people, I urge you to reconsider the way petitions are handled. To our state legislative council members, I urge you, once again, to reconsider the way petitions are handled and to ensure that every citizen's right to petition is respected and honored. We should not have to beg for our rights. They should be granted to us unconditionally. It is time for our government to listen to its people and act accordingly. Thank you for your attention to this matter. I hope that the government will take necessary steps to ensure that our rights are protected and our petitions are taken seriously. Now, this is the speech of low income. Dear citizens of America, it has come to my attention that there is a pressing issue affecting our lower income population in this country. The gap between the rich and the poor continues to widen, and it is crucial that we take action to address this imbalance. One way to start leveling the playing field is by implementing a petition that ensures anyone who is considered low income is in need of housing assistance must be eligible for Section 8 benefits. This will help prevent the rich from getting richer and the poor from getting poorer, as everyone will be on a more equal footing when it comes to accessing affordable housing. By advocating for this petition, we can work towards creating a more equitable society where all citizens have the opportunity to thrive and succeed. Let us join together in solidarity to make a difference for our low-income population and ensure that everyone has a fair chance to survive and thrive. Sincerely, James Chandler, FBI Angels, Chief Executive Officer and activist. Thank you. Now this is the speech to the IRS. Today, I will address the IRS. I want to express my frustration with the constant struggle of dealing with taxes and financial debts, which by law, according to the UCC, is government debt and not of we the people. The constant struggle of dealing with taxes and financial debts that seem to be weighing down on me and many others in our society. It feels like a never-ending cycle of making sure our employers are deducting the right amount of taxes, only to still owe money to the state, federal, or city government. On top of that, there are other financial obligations such as loans, rent, phone bills, and monthly payments that add to the burden. It is disheartening to see the lack of support and resources available for individuals like me who are trying to survive and thrive in this challenging economic environment. As I walk down the streets, I notice a lack of fruit-bearing trees in our neighborhoods, which serves as a stark reminder of the scarcity and struggles that many of us face every day. I often ponder what I would do if I had no money in my pocket and my life was in a dire state. How would I survive? These are questions that continue to haunt me and many others who are grappling with financial hardships. We need more assistance and avenues for support to be able to make ends meet and not just survive, but truly thrive. According to the 14th Amendment, we have the right to demand and petition for what we want and desire in life, including the pursuit of happiness. It is essential that our voices are heard and our needs are met so that we can lead fulfilling and dignified lives. I urge the government to consider the struggles that many of us are facing and to take action to provide the necessary resources and support for those who are in need. Let us keep hope alive and work towards a better future for all. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Sincerely, James Chandler, CEO, Chief Executive Officer of FBI Angels, and activist. Well, I want to mention a Supreme Court ruling law which states, every man is independent of all laws except those prescribed by nature. He is not bound by any institution formed by his fellow man without his consent. That's Cruden versus Neal. That was May term 1796. So again, that word consent goes a long way.
It's 6 o'clock.
And we don't just have rights because we're American citizens. It's not just an American citizen thing. So get that out your head, right? that is just an American society thing, and it's no rights nowhere else. We feel that Africa is entrapped, or China, Japan, wherever you go. But you have rights no matter where you are. You have rights no matter where you go. This is according to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in 1948. Article 1 states that we are all born free and equal. Article 2 says freedom from discrimination. That's what we have, freedom from discrimination. Article 3, right to life. Article 4, freedom from slavery. Article 5, freedom from torture. Article 6, right to recognition before the law. Article 7, right to equality before the law. Article 8, right to remedy. Article 9, freedom from arbitrary detention. Article 10, right to a fair trial. Article 11, presumption of innocence in international crimes. Article 12, right to privacy. And our privacy is violated every day, right? From the consumer credit bureaus to these cameras they got viewing us, and facial recognition and tapping the phones, and the cops feel that they can record us, but they hate it when we record them, right? Right to a fair trial. Right to privacy, freedom of movement. Article 13, freedom of movement. Article 14, right to asylum. Article 15, right to nationality. Right to nationality. A lot of us black folks don't know our ancestry. We're confused of where we came from. We don't know our ancestors. We don't know our DNA. We don't know what tribe we're from. We don't know. We have that right to know. These people lied to us and taken us from our land and our ancestors, and it's like we're all screwed because someone had to come and screw the pooch. Someone had to come and screw the pooch, right? But yes, we have right to nationality. That's Article 15. Article 16, right to marry and to found a family. I was talking about this yesterday. A lot of you don't know that I'm actually going through a process with the USCIS and to get married, to an immigrant, bring her over to America and finally get married. Do you know that process, costs a lot of money? And then when you pay this amount of money, a whole lot of money, they still take you through this long process to get the immigrant here. And this process of giving this money and this process of filling out all this paperwork, and then by the time my potential wife gets here, they only give you 90 days to get married. 90 days to get married. But they didn't have 90 days to do this process, right? It's a lot longer. Yeah. Try 3 years, close to 3, right? 3 years. A process that's 3 years. And they only give you 90 days to do what you have to do. The violation, right to marry and to found a family. That's Article 16. USCIS, you are exposed. The fraudulence, right? Paying for freedom, the right to marry. It's like paying for these licenses and tags and insurances. We don't consent to this. When did we ever consent to this? Right to marry and to found a family. That's a right. Article 17, right to own property. Right to own property. The government wants to take away people's property. They're actually taking people's property. Look it up on YouTube. Look it up on the news. You can't hardly have your own animals and breed in the correct way, naturally and clean and not with all these pesticides, right? You can't hardly have land with your own gold and without people tampering with your property, right? You can hardly have your own land and build your own garden and do natural remedies with your property, on your property, and healing people on your property. They'll come and close you down. Article 17, right to own property. Article 18, freedom of religion or belief. Right? Article 19, freedom of opinion and expression. Article 20, freedom of assembly and association. Article 21, a short course in democracy. Article 22, right to social security. Article 23, right to work. Article 24, right to rest and leisure. Article 25, right to adequate standard of living. Adequate standard of living. A lot of people, these property owners, where you renting your property, real estate agents, raising the prices on these properties, but they haven't changed a doorknob on the door. But they want to raise rent, but nothing has changed. They still have old material. And there shouldn't be no raised rent if there's nothing new. Right? No upscale to the place. They don't upscale the place, but they're quick to raise the rent, right? We have a right to adequate standard of living. Article 26, right to education. Article 27, right to cultural, artistic, and scientific life. Right? They hardly want to teach black history in school. And besides black history or teaching the truth, they want to teach Christopher Columbus discovering America. They don't want to teach survival. Yeah. Dumbing down, like I said, the dumbing down of the education in America, right? Article 28, right to a free and fair world. Article 29, duty to your community. Article 30, rights are inalienable. Rights are inalienable. So much to fight for, so much to talk about. And Article 28, once again, right to a free and fair world. We look around with discrimination and racism, just because another person feels inadequate about themselves or they feel threatened by another race, and the race these people haven't done anything to these people, but they're just upset because they exist. Just because the wicked are oppressed because the righteous exist, threatened because righteous people exist, or and again, this is a biblical nation. This is supposed to be a biblical nation, and we hardly see fruit-bearing plants in our neighborhoods. Wasn't the Bible an agricultural based culture, right? Living off the land, letting the rain fall upon the land so it can grow the proper fruits and veggies, and thriving off the land. But we can't even collect rainwater without it being a violation to their policy. And people have been locked up, and because collecting rainwater, and we hear often the government, there's a scarcity of water. That's very interesting, right? They say it's a scarcity of water, and they talk about the ozone layer and the overheating of the world and everything like that. So all these things they bring up to throw out and cancel out what they can do to save it. But they rather do something wrong and wicked make it wrong to collect rainwater, which we can actually stimulate to use for future survival techniques, and scientifically, we have some smart people in the world, scientists and different things, and where's our future scientists? And I don't mean the doctor ones, that's off human medicine and drugging people all the time, but natural healers and problem solvers. We need the problem solvers to step forward, solving the problems that we see, and establishing a nation that is solving natural disasters, right? Instead of causing them. A lot of the people that say they are, following the natural disasters and trying to save the world, they're actually destroying it behind our back. Because this is the thing. They want to make the problem and turn around and be the one to fix the problem. So they're getting the proper payment. Their budget is going up. As if they're the only person we could depend on to save the universe, when they made the problem happen in the first place. That's our government, right? It goes back to misleading information. It goes back to, again, another violation, right? (15 USC Section 2) talks about monopolizing trade, which really is a felony, a penalty. And this is what police officers do. They monopolize, so they ask for the money for during a traffic stop tickets. Monopolizing judges in the courts. You got to pay that fee every time you come before them. Monopolizing. You can speak as a lawyer on behalf of yourself and another. Again, that's a right. I mentioned before in the last video that we have a right to practice law. We have a right to whatever occupation we want to find ourselves doing. This is the land of the free, home of the brave, right? And there could be no sanction or penalty imposed upon one because it's exercise of constitutional rights. All right, we talked about it. There was something else that somebody brought to my attention this week. With me dealing with the Judicial Tenure Commission and how they put me out of public building for trying to drop off legal paperwork. Instead of escorting me up because they felt that I was a threat, the cops escorted me out the public building. So it's an investigation going on. I got going because I complained about it, made a complaint report, and I received a letter yesterday stating that they're still working on it and they went through the proper process and it's going good right now, but they're still working on it. So someone said, well, you can file another complaint, the duty of care. And I looked that up on what's this, Wikipedia. No, that's not really a trusted site, but it says, in tort law, a duty of care is a legal obligation that is imposed on an individual requiring adherence to a standard of reasonable care to avoid careless acts that could foreseeably harm others and lead to claim and negligence. It is the first element that must be established to proceed with an action in negligence. The claimant must be able to show a duty of care imposed by law that the defendant has breached. In turn, breaching a duty may subject an individual to liability. The duty of care may be imposed by operation of law between individuals who have no current direct relationship or contractual or otherwise, but eventually become related in some manner as defined by common law, meaning case law. It is also known as a social contract. It is not a requirement that a duty of care be defined by law, though it will often develop through the jurisprudence of common law. So that was duty of care. Then there was a Supreme Court ruling, Brady versus Maryland, that was mentioned too. 373 U.S. 83, 1963 was a landmark United States Supreme Court case that established that the prosecution must turn over all evidence that might exonerate the defendant to the defense. The prosecution failed to do so for Brady, and he was convicted. Brady challenged his conviction, arguing it had been contrary to the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution. Again, the power of the 14th Amendment, right? You know, these people are putting these phony crimes on people, and they're ending up in prison. But these courts fail to recognize the 14th Amendment. With all these plotting agendas, they still fail to recognize the 14th Amendment. And you want to always call them out on that to fight your case. And I'm not going to be long. It's like I can go over some other things, but just hitting on a few things right now. And I think I mentioned this before. You know, a lot of court violations, such as abuse of process, filing fraudulent claims, right? Incompetence, ineffective assistance, lack of communication, perjury, collusion. You can call them out on those things. (28 USC 1651) talks about writs. All courts must act under law. All courts must act under law. Right? Go after these people. Hold these people accountable, because they are all accountable to law, right? Power of the 14th Amendment. Listen to this. A court cannot acquire jurisdiction to try a person for an act made criminal only by an unconstitutional law, and thus an offense created by an unconstitutional statute is no longer a crime, and a conviction under such statute cannot be a legal cause for imprisonment. That's State versus Benzel, 583 N 434, Wisconsin 2D 588, 1998. A Supreme Court ruling. Right? Speeding, driving without a license, wrong plates, or no plates, no registration, no tags, etc. have been held to be non-arrestable offenses. That's Kale versus Farley, 98. Kale, Rap 8920, California 3D 1032. Just keep those things in mind, right? at there, you know, and I learned this over a short period of time listening to TikTok. So I'm still learning law. I'm still diving in, a student of it. But so far, very well equipped for battle with these people, right? They don't want you to know law. They never want you to know what to do to defend yourself. So it's best to find ways to defend yourself, right? If you're not the best warrior or fighter that could lead a war, you want to learn how to fight in some way or form or shape, right? Even if it's verbal, right? Even if it's written, there's power in the pen, right? Right? Even if it's by law, okay? American Banana Company versus United Fruit Company. It says the decree of the sovereign makes law. And this is a nugget for you. If you get a traffic ticket, write on the signature line, void for TDC. Void for TDC. Threat, duress, and coercion. Coercion. And I hope you got something out of this lesson. I know it was a short one, but I'll see you next time. Join me on Each One Teach One. I'm your host, James Chandler, and you all enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.